Welcome to Sense and Nonsense A to Z, where we pick topics based off of the letter of the day. Today is episode 16 of season 1, featuring the letter P.
We're family and we're your hosts, AT and Z. So let's get started. Today's hello is Brevit.
Brevit.
Ukrainian.
Oh,
Yeah,
no, not to the Ukrainians.
Yes, exactly. Something very exciting happened.
Oh, yes?
My New York Rangers just beat the Pittsburgh Penguins in 7 games. And that was the first round of NHL playoff.
Okay.
And the Carolina Hurricanes, by the way, beat the Boston Bruins in 7 games as well.
Yeah, it was a big to-do round here.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
So now, guess what?
What?
It's the Rangers against the Hurricanes.
Oh, my goodness.
They're both in the Metropolitan Division, so they're going for their division. And first game is Wednesday, the 18th at 7 o'clock. So I'm looking forward to that.
Should we wager on this or something? Do you have a prediction?
Yeah, no, both are very good teams.
Yeah.
You know, so it's going to be tough. My only prediction is that it's going to go to 7 games.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be
All
tough.
right. All right.
It's going to be good. So I got one other thing.
Okay.
New Jersey's plastic bag ban just went into effect this month, and it's called Get Past Plastic. And I have a tip.
Okay.
Okay, so when you go to the grocery store or wherever you're shopping, and you think you need 2 tote bags, take a third. If you think you need 3, take a fourth. You always need at least 1 more.
I know.
So that is my, hopefully, a helpful tip.
Well, I shop at Aldi a lot, and you
Yeah.
have to bring your own bags to Aldi.
Is that a thing there?
Oh, yeah, always has been.
Oh, okay.
It's no frills, you know, they just
Yeah.
cut the boxes open and they put it on a shelf. So if there's an empty box, you can use an empty box as
Oh,
well.
that's cool.
But I always underestimate the number of bags that I'm going
Isn't
to
that the
need.
truth?
Always.
Yeah. I'm glad they didn't do away with the bags for the produce.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Can you
No.
imagine that?
No, I
That would
don't-
be tough.
Yeah, I like those little bags. I need
Yeah, I do
those.
too.
I
use
buy a
them.
lot of stuff like apples and zucchini and
Yeah,
stuff.
me too. Bananas
And
and
those
stuff.
are easily bruised. I don't want them rolling around and stuff.
Yeah, I know. How are you going to carry like 5 apples?
No,
You're just going to throw them in your cart? That doesn't make any sense.
I don't like that.
No, I don't like that either. That's my little update for today. Anything going on with you, Z?
Well, I'm getting ready for book club is next week. So it's been so bad. We do it like every 6 weeks or so.
Mhm.
And I just ordered the book.
Oh, no
So
kidding.
it's supposed to come tomorrow. Thank you, Amazon Prime. Yeah. So
We like Prime.
I know, I really do.
Definitely.
I don't
Me
know
too.
what I would have done without it anymore. When I have to wait for something to come, like regular mail, like I order from somewhere else, it's a nightmare. So I'm getting
But
ready to
even
read that.
Prime, even I've been finding Prime, they'll say that it's going to be here on Thursday. Then I'll get an email that's like, sorry for the delay. It'll be there Monday. And I'm like, oh, I wouldn't have ordered it if I thought it was going to be here on Monday.
Exactly.
You know?
I don't get that so often.
Mhm.
Usually pretty good, or sometimes I get them early. I like when I get it early.
Yeah.
Usually when I'm counting on something to arrive on that day, that's the time that it's always delayed. You know,
Yeah, of course, right?
when I'm
When
like,
you
oh my
really need
God,
something.
I need this cat litter now, you know, it'll be
Yeah.
like, oh, sorry. It's like, oh man,
Delayed.
I need that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm getting ready to read this book. So I'm going to try and squish it in here somehow between doing
What's the name?
research for the podcast. It's called Where the Crawdads Sing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
It's number 2 on Amazon charts this week. And
Really?
it's got over 225,000 ratings and it's got 5 stars.
Wow.
So, and it's soon to be a major motion picture.
Hmm.
It's a number 1 New York Times best-selling worldwide sensation with more than 12 million copies sold, including my one now.
Yeah.
It's hailed by the New York Times Book Review as a painfully beautiful first novel that is at once a murder mystery, a coming-of-age narrative, and a celebration of nature. So,
Sounds like a good book to read.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to it.
Yeah. Good. You'll be busy.
Uh-huh.
I have our 10 questions P edition ready for you.
Okay.
All right. So, first question. What time do you typically put on your PJs?
Later than I should. 10:30,
Well, that's not bad.
10:45.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, right
What about
before
you?
bed. Right
Yeah.
before bed. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
put them on like, 6 o'clock like some
Oh,
people do.
no,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
do
do
that.
that. No,
Mm-mm.
me neither. Okay. Next question. What's the ideal number of pets?
2.
I gotta agree with you. Whether it's 2 dogs or 2 cats or 1 and 1. Yeah. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
that's ideal.
Yeah.
All right. Next. Philly cheesesteak or Philly pretzel? I'm getting into the tough questions now with the
This is a
food.
tough question.
With the food.
Oh
right?
my goodness.
Yeah.
Philly cheesesteak.
Yeah. Me too.
Because I mean, honestly, you can get a good pretzel a lot of places, but you can only get a Philly cheesesteak in Philly.
Yeah. I agree with you. Okay. If you had your own version of a Pandora's box, what would be in it? This is getting deep.
I didn't realize there was going to be a lot of self-reflection in this. Anger, pettiness, and woe.
Okay.
What about you?
So you went with the theory of the way it is that there's bad stuff in it.
Yeah, there's bad stuff in the box, and she
Yeah.
opened it and let it out into the
And
world.
it's bad. Yeah.
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 What about you?
I would want to put war back in there or open it up in its piece.
Yeah, that would be lovely as well.
That would be me.
But I think like all of war stems from anger and pettiness and
Mhm.
woe,
Yeah.
those things that make you feel less than
Mhm.
and make you feel vengeful.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Alrighty, next. Any desire to fly a plane? Only in emergency.
I was gonna say, as a means to save my life,
Yeah.
should the situation arise, it's nice to have some knowledge on a subject,
Right.
Right. But I think if we're talking piloting, I would be more interested in learning how to pilot a helicopter than I would an airplane. Yes.
Interesting. Okay.
Yes.
Alrighty.
What about you?
Only in emergency. Like
Yeah.
I have no desire to take flying lessons.
No.
To fly and play.
No.
Absolutely none.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Next question. Favorite pie?
Pumpkin.
Oh, that's my second.
What's your
Do you-
first?
You don't know?
Cherry.
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 Yeah. Cherry pie.
Pumpkin pie is my favorite. I do
Yeah.
like a lot of pies, but I like custard pies more than fruit pies or
Do
cream
you really?
pies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I love pie. Pie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Favorite song from the Police?
Roxanne.
I think that's everybody's, right?
Yeah.
That's their number one song. I like Every Breath You Take. I also like Walking on the Moon.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I like Message in a Bottle too.
Yeah. Okay. So next question. Would you rather drive a Porsche or a Peugeot?
A Porsche.
Yeah. Why drive safety vehicle?
Yeah.
I'm all for one of those convertibles.
Yes, please.
Yes. Okay. What do you prefer in your pierogies?
Potato. Onion's fine. As
Potato
well.
and onion?
Potato and
Okay.
onion. Mhm.
Okay.
But I don't really like all the different variations. I just want potato pierogi. That's like it.
Yeah. I like cheese in there too, though.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh, I do. I like
No.
potato and cheese.
Mm-mm.
You know, a lot of people like sauerkraut. Yeah, I'm not
Well,
into that.
They put there's a school of thought that you like put onions and stuff on top and perhaps sauerkraut and
yes.
stuff like that on top, but not inside. No,
Oh,
thank
yeah,
you.
yeah. It's a thing.
Mm-mm.
It's a thing to sauerkraut. And I know.
Yucky.
Not for me.
No,
I used to make them, by the way.
I don't like sauerkraut.
Oh, no.
Well, they're basically a ravioli. They're
Yeah. Yeah,
a
exactly.
Polish ravioli.
Exactly.
You
But
know?
I used to put sausage, peppers, and onions inside. I used to do some variations. Never sauerkraut. Never. Okay. Last question. What's the one site you would have to visit if you were in Paris? So you're about to leave Paris and you didn't do much sightseeing and you're going, oh, I've got to go to this one place before we go.
The Louvre.
It would be
the Louvre.
the Louvre. Yeah. it would have to be between Eiffel Tower and the Louvre, right?
Yeah. Well, the Eiffel Tower is iconic, but I'm not climbing it. That's not happening. And so basically, you're just looking up at a big steel structure. But the Louvre is something that you can go and experience. Well, for
Yeah.
me, I can go and experience
me
it.
too.
And
Me
I
too.
would prefer
Yeah, I'm
that,
all
yeah.
about the Louvre too.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so that was it.
Nice.
10 questions.
Good questions.
Had some food in it. I was thinking, do I have too much food in this one? But what the hell?
Nah. I mean, pie's good. Cheesesteaks are good.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing that I could say maybe is the pierogi one, but those are good too.
Love them all.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to do my favorite PTV show.
Okie doke.
It is Psych.
You have mentioned that to me before.
Yeah, I love this show.
I know.
It was on the USA Network from 2006 to 2014. There are 8 seasons and 121 episodes. And they've also made 3 movies.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Have you seen this show at all?
Okay, so I don't know why not. I mean, it's not like I didn't have USA, because I had USA. And it's not like I didn't see the commercials, but I had seen the commercials. I remember that. But for some reason, I never watched it.
Shame.
Well, I knew that you liked it. So I did catch 2 episodes, first season, and I caught the first one and the second one. I got to tell you, it's good.
It is, right?
It's really good. It's funny.
It gets even better after that.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So the description is a novice sleuth by the name of Sean Spencer, who's played by James Rode Rodriguez,
Right.
is hired by the police after he cons them into thinking he has psychic powers, which help solve crimes. And with the assistance of his reluctant best friend, Burton Guster, played by Dule Hill, the duo take on a series of complicated cases. Police Lieutenant Carlton Lassiter, played by Timothy Ummenson, is continuously annoyed by Sean's antics. Yeah,
Man.
he does not believe him.
No.
He does not want him involved in police work at all. And then his partner, Juliet O'Hara, who's played by Maggie Lawson, has a soft spot for Sean and backs him up a lot. Plus, later they wind up dating. And weird spoiler alert, which isn't really a spoiler because it's over. They dated for 7 years in real life.
Oh, no
They remain
kidding.
good friends.
Oh, good.
So Henry Spencer, who is Sean's father, is played by Corbin Burnson.
Right.
And he's always busting Sean's chops, and he does not condone when he does, even though secretly he's proud of him because he was a serious cop and he
Hard
trained him.
nose.
Yeah, very on a job and off.
Oh, okay.
And then Karen Vick, the character of Karen Vick, is played by Kristen Nelson, who is the chief of police. And she's a bit wary of Sean's psychic abilities, but she likes his results. So she rounds out the main cast. And the show is just hilarious and fun. And it switches back between the present day and when Sean was a kid and his father was putting him through these lessons and tests and teaching him how to be observant because he wanted him to be a good cop when he got older.
Right.
And he was super smart, but kind of an underachiever. And he did not want to play within the rules at all. And he never wanted to grow up, but he loved solving cases. So he came up with this scheme so he could solve crimes and work with the police, but not have to do like the boring stuff like paperwork and pay attention to the rules, stuff like that.
Great plan.
I think so too, right? This show is great. It had so many running gags. And if you watch the show, you'll come to notice them. There's a pineapple in every episode.
Oh, is there really?
Every single one, there's a pineapple, and the movies too.
Okay.
And they say, "Come on, son," but they do it like, "Come on, son," like Ed Lover all the time. They say that to each other a lot. And they say "suck it" a lot too. It's like, "Suck it, you suck it." No, you suck it, stuff like that. And then as another running gag, Sean would always give Gus these like weird names whenever they were introducing somebody. Yeah. And he'd be like, "My name is Sean Spencer, and this is my partner, Long Branch Pennywhistle." It's like, what the hell is that? And or like Gus would be Silly Pants Jackson, or Guy Buttersnaps came up a lot, or Felicia Fancy Bottom. And then Gus goes, Felicia Fancy Bottom, what am I, a James Bond villain? You know, like, a lot of times he would go along with it. Sometimes he wouldn't like it, especially if they were being introduced to somebody who he thought was attractive. He wouldn't like the name all the time. But two of my favorite ones, my favorite names were Chocolate Columbo, which is hilarious, and Chesterfield Macmillan and Wife. Like those two Gus went along with it. It's just so funny because it's so random and so unexpected. And the ones you don't always know the ones that he's going to go along with. And some of the ones he does are super surprising. But they also are always eating popcorn or nachos or tacos or churros. They go ape at a cinnamon festival. They eat all the cinnamon pie and they're pop culture aficionados. And that was constantly being worked into the shows.
Oh, I love stuff like that.
It's so fun. And there are so many shows that they did like tributes to or nods to, like the movie Clue. You know, I talked about it when we did Clue. They did a 100 Clues episode. And they also do like Twin Peaks, and they're constantly referencing The Breakfast Club. And just about every cast member of The Breakfast Club has been in this TV show.
Oh, cool.
Except Emilio Estevez.
Oh, no.
He used Emilio Estevez's name once as an alias, so he got him in there.
Oh,
but
okay. Well done.
Yeah. The show just has a ridiculous amount of guest stars because of that. The show is based on the creator's two favorite television shows, Moonlighting.
There you go.
And Remington Steele.
Oh.
And so, of course, Sybil Shepherd plays Sean's mom. Oh. And there's tons of Star Trek actors, like William Shatner came on and played Juliet's dad. George Takei was on, Jerry Ryan, and a bunch of other actors all across the series. Cary Elwes was Pierre Despereaux.
How about that?
It was a recurring character that was a crazy good art thief and kind of a hero to Sean because he was so cool. And he always had these like ulterior motives for doing stuff. And he befriended Sean and Gus over the whole time the series was running. So they teamed up a bunch of times. So it's really fun.
Right.
And Kurt Smith from Tears for Fears also had a recurring role, but he was always himself. He was himself.
Because this takes place in California, am I right?
Santa Barbara.
Okay.
Yeah. And
a lot of crime in Santa Barbara.
I know, right?
Just in the two episodes that I saw, it was a lot of crime.
There is. And although it's never directly stated, Psych is said to be based on, or at least a parody of, Sherlock Holmes. And my favorite depiction of Sherlock Holmes is, of course, Robert Downey Jr.
Of course.
Another fictional 21st century detective inspired by Sherlock Holmes was Patrick Jane from The Mentalist. Did you ever see The Mentalist?
No.
Okay. So Simon Baker was the star of that show, and that show is kind of like Psych in parallel, except serious. And Patrick Jane is always trying to convince everyone that he isn't a psychic, because for the first part of his career, he was a psychic con man. And then he teams up with the police and is trying to convince everybody that he's not a psychic. So this show is basically a mirror image of The Mentalist. And they reference that. And like, they always have Sean like looking up The Mentalist on the website. There's a lot of similarities between the two shows, and they acknowledge it. Burton Guster drove a company car that was a Toyota Echo. And Tim Curry guest starred in season 2, and his character called it the Blueberry. And the nickname stuck.
Oh, no
Throughout
kidding.
the rest of the series, it was auctioned off to the highest bidder when the show ended.
Wow.
Yeah. And also your man Bruce McGill was in one of the episodes. He played a fire chief.
Cool. Appropriately so.
Exactly.
I can see him playing that.
Yep. The first movie came out in 2017, and Timothy Omundson had a stroke a few weeks before the shooting began. So he's only in the movie briefly. And then Steve Franks and James Roday sat in a booth and like rewrote the entire movie. The villain in that movie is called the Thin White Duke, and they did that as a nod to the late David Bowie. So, I mean, it's just pop culture all over the place.
That's cool.
In Psych 2, which was in 2020, and it was Psych 2 Lassie Come Home, they wrote in the fact that Timothy Omundson had a stroke. In the movie, he gets shot and then he suffers a stroke on the operating table.
Mhm.
And then in Psych 3, this one just came out. This is Psych 3. This is Gus.
Are the
It-
guys in that too?
Everybody's in it.
Oh, no
Everybody's in them
kidding.
all. Yeah,
Okay.
even Timothy Omenson, like
Oh,
he's
wow.
still in it. And in
Okay.
this one, he's like standing up and he's walking again, but he's got to kind of like move on as being the chief of police, because through all this, he's like, you know, got promotions and stuff and having to deal with the fact that he's had a stroke and he's defined his life by being a cop and he can't be a cop anymore. I mean, this is like, we're talking about issues they're getting involved with.
Yeah.
But also, as they're running around trying to solve this crime, you know, they talk and everything. And Sean asked Gus, do you think Meghan Markle invited all the cast of Suits to the royal wedding? And Gus responds, nope, she did not. Because as we
Because he
know,
was in
Dule
Suits.
Hill was in Suits. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So that I thought that was pretty funny.
That's
but
cool.
Steve Franks, who created this show, says he wants to do 5 movies. So we'll see if that happens. But if you get a chance, it's a
Keep
great
watching.
one. Yeah, it's like you said, while you're waiting for something, it's a great one to catch a few episodes because they're reliably funny.
Yeah.
I was so upset when this show went off the air. Keep going with it. I don't think you'll be disappointed.
Yeah. Just 2 things. Dule Hill was born in New Jersey, by the way.
Was he? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he went to Seton Hall. Mhm.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they moved to Saraville. He went to the same high school that hubby went to.
That's
And-
cool.
And I just wanted to say something. When I was watching, especially the first episode, because it was really concentrating on the dad, focusing on the kid to be
Mhm.
more observant. And I said to myself, you know what? I got to start being more observant myself. Not so much how many hats are in the room.
Right.
Yeah, that's a little too far for
That's
me.
a little crazy, right?
But yeah, not a bad quality to have, to be more observant.
I don't think so either. And it is something that I've found myself like over the years, like using some of the stuff that Henry Spencer taught Sean. What to do in this situation, what to do in that situation. And it is funny, but it's a little educational as
There
well.
you go. I
Yeah,
like that.
inspiring. Yeah.
Mhm. Cool.
So Psych, one of my favorites.
I have a cult classic to discuss with you.
Alrighty.
The Princess Bride.
One of my favorites.
Me too. Was released in 1987, directed and co-produced by Rob Reiner.
A favorite as well.
Absolutely. And critics have said that this is his best work.
It's a great movie. Come on.
I know.
Classic.
So it's based on a book called The Princess Bride. However, the story is pretty much about a grandfather who reads that particular book to his grandson who's not feeling well, which is a family tradition. So the grandpa is played by Peter Falk,
Yep.
and the grandson is Fred Savage, who's about 10 years old, I'm going to say. I think the concept is just ingenious, and that every so often they cut back to the grandfather in the bedroom telling the story to the grandson. He narrates it a little bit. I think it's very well done.
I do too.
There's 2 important lines throughout the movie: "As you wish" and "true love." Very important.
Very.
It takes place in a kingdom called Florin. A beautiful young woman named Buttercup, played by Robin Wright, and a young, handsome farmhand named Wesley, played by Carrie Elwes, does whatever Buttercup asks of him and simply replies, "As you wish."
Yeah.
In time, she realizes that "as you wish" meant "I love you." They're in love, but he had no money, and he decides to leave, go overseas, and seek fortune. He promised her that he would come back because this is true love. There is a notorious dread pirate, Roberts, who captures the ship that Wesley was on, and Buttercup believes that Wesley was killed because he takes no prisoners.
Right.
Now, the Prince of Florin, Prince Humperdinck, played by Chris Sarandon, comes up with a plan to pick a woman within the kingdom, marry her, kill her, and then blame the neighboring country, Gilder, so this way he can go to war with them. His accomplice is Count Tyrone Rugen, a 6-fingered villain played by Christopher Guest. So for his plan, he hires a Sicilian criminal mind, Vizzini,
Yeah.
played by Wallace Shawn, to kidnap Buttercup and kill her. So he in turn hires 2 men, Fezzik for his mighty strength, played by Andre the Giant, and Inigo Montoya, an expert swordsman from Spain, played by Mandy Patinkin, who were both good guys, but just very poor and needed the money. Montoya's only mission in life was to get revenge on a six-fingered man who murdered his father, so the plot thickens here.
Mm-hmm.
The three kidnap her and sail off to the neighboring country. But a pirate dressed all in black with a black mask follows them. We, as the audience, know that it's Wesley. The pirate catches up to them as they get to land. A few cool things happen, and then the pirate eventually captures Buttercup. Still doesn't reveal himself and questions her on her faithfulness while he's admitting that he's the Dread Pirate Roberts. She berates him for killing her one true love. She then pushes him down a steep mountain. He tumbles and he shouts, "As you wish." Then she realizes that that's Wesley. She tumbles down after him. They reunite. Now the problem is that Humperdinck is after them.
Mm-hmm.
So they run through the forest into the fire swamp. And I love this in the fire swamp.
I love it too. I love when he says, like, it's not so bad. And she's like giving him this like look of death. And he's like, I'm not saying I'd like to build a summer home here, but the trees are quite lovely. It's like, oh my God, I love that line.
And how about when he says,
I've said that so many times. I'm not
you?
saying I'd like to build a summer home here. You know what I mean?
I love when he tells her about, he has the name of Dread Pirate Roberts, but he got it from the guy who wanted to retire, who got it from the other guy who wanted to retire.
Exactly. The name is important. Yeah.
Yes, very. So Humperdinck eventually captures them and takes them back to Florin. He forces Buttercup to stay with him to marry, and then he secretly kills Wesley on a torture contraption in Count Tyrone's pit of despair. In the meantime, Indigo teams up with Fezzik for his mission to find the six-finger man. But now there's extra security around the castle because of the impending wedding. So Indigo wants to rescue Wesley and get his help. So this is my favorite part. They find Wesley dead and take his body over to Miracle Max's. Billy Crystal.
I think we talked about this before, haven't we?
We talked
Billy Crystal.
We talked about, right. And it's funny, I had seen a interview with Billy Crystal when they did his makeup for this, and he took the makeup artist from SNL with him.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Didn't he model it after like his grandmother or something like that?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. He said that people stop him, and he starred in many movies.
Yeah.
But people always ask him about this movie. He's like, I'm only in this movie for about 3 minutes, but people always ask me about this movie.
You know, that's funny too, because Mandy Patinkin has said that this was the favorite role of his that he ever played over the course of his entire career. So well. And that people stop him like twice a day at least and say the line, which I'm sure we'll talk about later.
And I'm gonna say that line,
but isn't that crazy? Like, this movie is the one out of everything.
I think it's great.
Mm-hmm.
Where was I?
Miracle Max.
Miracle Max, who was the kingdom's healer at one time. Mm-hmm. Indigo and Fezzik take the body, knock on Max's peep door at his cottage. Are you the Miracle Max who worked for the king for all those years? So in a Yiddish accent, Max replies, the king's stinking son fired me. We're closed. Indigo knocks again and explains that they have a dead guy and need Max's help. So they bring Wesley into the cottage. Max says, I've seen worse, that he's mostly dead.
Yeah.
And there's a big difference between mostly dead and all dead. Indigo has very little money to pay him. And Max says, I've never worked for so little, except one time for a noble cause. Oh, this is a noble cause. Like, yeah, it's a noble cause. So Max puts air into Wesley's mouth with a bellows. And yells, hello in there. What's so important? And Wesley exhales and says, true love. Even though he heard him and he knows that true love is a noble cause, Max figures this is a tough job and wants really nothing to do with it. So he says, nah, he said to blave.
Yeah.
Max's wife, Valerie, played by Carol Kane. Liar! He said true love. And then she explains to the guys that ever since Humperdinck fired Max, he lost his confidence. And then Max says, "You promised never to say his name." And she goes, "What? Humperdinck? Humperdinck, 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 Humperdinck." And she chases him around the room. And then Inigo stops him and explains that, listen, by reviving Wesley, you're going to cause great pain to Humperdinck.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, now that's a noble cause.
Mm-hmm.
So Max and his wife concoct a chocolate-covered miracle pill.
The chocolate helps it go down easier.
Yes. And how long to wait before he goes swimming?
At least an hour.
I thought that was hysterical. All right. So, and here's one of my favorite lines. As the guys leave the cottage, "Have fun storming the castle."
Yeah, that's
I love
iconic.
that.
You think it'll work?
It's going to take a miracle.
It's so good.
It is so good. So they get to the outskirts of the castle. They give Wesley the pill, who slowly revives, but cleverly they get into the castle during the wedding. The high priest, played by Peter Cook, and I cannot
my
keep a straight
goodness.
face. when I see
No.
him.
Mowich.
He talks like Kripke from Big Bang.
Yeah. That
Mowich.
character is based on a real person.
That's hysterical.
Yeah.
So anyway, he's performing the wedding and everyone hears the ruckus going on outside. So Humperdinck forces the priest to quickly end the ceremony. Just say husband and wife, of which he does. The wedding ends. Inigo tracks down the six-fingered man. My favorite line of the whole movie.
Oh, everybody's, isn't it?
Oh my God. "Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die."
Yes. It's
They
so
duel.
good.
It's so good.
He keeps saying it.
I know.
Hello.
I
He
know.
gets,
Stop
like,
saying
more,
it.
Yeah, he gets more invigorated every time because he's got all these holes in him.
Stabbed. He's been
Yeah,
stabbed.
he's been stabbed like 4
Yep.
times or
Yep.
something.
He
or 3
gains
times.
strength. Yeah.
And
Such
he
a
keeps
cool
saying
part.
the line and it's
I
giving
l-
it to him, and he only inflicts the same amount of wounds
Yeah.
on Rogan as he gave him. So he's got the
Right.
2 slashes on his face,
Exactly.
1 in each arm, and the belly shot.
Yep.
I thought that was great that he
I thought
did
that was
that.
genius.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So they duel. He kills him.
Mhm.
Wesley then finds Buttercup and saves her. Explains to her that she's not really married because she never said "I do."
No.
Totally relieved, right?
Mm-hmm.
They escape the castle. Inigo says that he doesn't know what he's going to do for the rest of his life because now he killed the six-fingered man and that was his mission.
Yeah.
So Wesley then offers the Dread Pirate Roberts title to him, which
Mhm.
totally makes sense.
Absolutely. He's a great sword fighter.
Yeah. So Wesley and Buttercup kiss. They ride off. The end.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're back to the grandson's bedroom. And he asked if he could come back tomorrow to read the book to him again. And his grandfather simply replied, "As you wish." So this is about the love in the family between the grandfather and the grandson and passing down the tradition of reading the book.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's such a great movie.
It really is.
I love
And
it.
in 2016, it was inducted into the National Film Registry for being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. And I think it is
I
because
do too.
everybody that I know who is my age or older, this is a very important movie for their lives.
Mhm.
It's one of the greatest sword fights of all time between Wesley and Inigo Montoya.
They were
And they-
so good.
They did their own sword work. They trained for months and they did all their own sword fighting.
They both look fantastic.
Fantastic.
Left-handed and
Left-handed-
right-handed.
Yes, the fact
Yeah.
that they did it both.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
guys, they were amazing,
They
and
were
I
amazing.
loved that scene because they're being so
They're becoming
appreciative.
friends too.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
so appreciative of each other and they're so
Yeah.
respectful of one another during
Yeah.
that whole time. He's like,
Yeah.
"Hey, you seem like a decent fellow. I hate to kill you." And he's like, "You seem like a decent fellow. I hate to die." You know, it's
Yeah.
like, it's so good.
It's
And
so good. And then when he fights Andre the Giant,
oh, I love
they
love when
become
he's-
friends.
Yeah, I love when
Yeah.
he's like, "Why are you wearing a mask? Were you burned with acid or something like that?" And he's like, "Oh no, they're just terribly comfortable. I think everyone will be wearing them in the future. I hate to tell you,
There you
they're not
go.
comfortable and we do not like wearing them." But anyway, the way that the characters are written,
Oh yeah.
the way
yeah.
that they defer to one another, and I
Sure.
mean, yes, they're pitted against each other in these duels, but Nobody says that you can't be gentlemanly about it. You
No,
can
of
still be
course.
polite,
Of
you know?
course.
And I
Of
think
course.
that's part of the charm of this movie.
How about when Vizzini keeps on saying inconceivable? Inconceivable. You keep saying that word. I don't think it means what you think it means, he says. I know. So good.
It's so good.
I love
You
it.
know, in the fire swamp, the rodents of unusual size,
Yes.
those things have been referenced in multiple video games. This movie has a lot of influence on pop culture in that way as well. Not
Wow.
just, you know, people say these lines, but also
Sure.
incorporate it into their work. And also, I have to say that in one of my games that I used to make, I have the Pit of Despair.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
That's where bad people go. The Pit of Despair.
That's cool.
Uh-huh.
Love this movie. Love it.
Me too. You know,
What's your favorite scene?
the chatty duel between
The sword
Wesley
fight?
and Inigo Montoya. That's my favorite one
Yeah.
because I just love the way it's done. It's
I-
like,
I
you're
love it.
wonderful. You're
Yeah.
amazing. You
Yeah,
know,
I love that too. But my
Yeah.
favorite is Miracle Max.
Oh yeah, it's so
That's
funny.
my favorite.
Do you know that Rob Reiner couldn't be around during when they were filming that because he was laughing so much it was making him nauseous?
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And Billy Crystal ad-libbed most of his lines.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
So good.
He's so good.
Our sense and nonsense category is
Hmm?
platinum.
Ooh.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Sense or nonsense. Most platinum is mined for jewelry. Oh, you're taking your time on this one. huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nonsense.
You're correct. Even though platinum's attributes are ideal for jewelry, out of the 118 metric tons of platinum mined per year, more than half of it is used to make catalytic converters
Mm-hmm.
because platinum melts at an extreme high temperature of 3,215 degrees.
Holy mackerel.
So it can withstand the heat produced from a catalytic converter.
Wow.
Is that incredible?
That's incredible.
Yeah. Hey, we're educational. We've said that before.
We are. And more importantly than being educational, I got one right.
Yay! Okay, let's see if you can go 2 for 2.
Okay.
Sense or nonsense? Platinum does not oxidize.
Sense.
Platinum is resistant to oxidation at any temperature.
Mm.
It's also unaffected by acids and won't tarnish or corrode. So jewelry made of platinum lasts for generations.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. Sense or nonsense? Platinum is more common in space than on Earth. I wish people could see your face.
Am I making stupid faces?
You're going,
I'm thinking hard.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are comets and asteroids, they're made out of metal. So sure. I'll say sense.
You are 3 for 3, my dear. Yep.
Right on.
Right on. Moon rocks are partially composed of platinum, and it's found in heavy concentrations in meteorites.
Ah,
Platinum mines are only in a few places on Earth, so it's easier to find platinum in space than it is on Earth.
right on.
I
I
know.
have redeemed myself
You
from my
most certainly
abysmal
have.
showing last week.
Okay, so some facts. About 90% of platinum is mined in South Africa. Some other places are Russia, South America, the US, Canada, India, and places throughout Europe.
Hmm.
It's the second most valuable precious metal. Only rhodium is more valuable.
Hmm.
It has the third highest density of all elements. Only osmium and iridium have higher densities. Its non-corrosive properties combined with it being non-toxic makes it an essential component in pacemakers, catheters, and stents.
Mm.
Also for crowns and dentistry equipment and laboratory equipment. Lastly, it's also considered an anti-tumor agent, which is used in several anti-cancer drugs.
Really? How about that?
That's why I picked platinum.
Yeah. It's a good
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah. Not only is it pretty,
Yeah.
it's highly functional.
Nice.
Yeah. So I know that we talked about the Beatles during our second episode, Letter B,
Mm-hmm.
but we didn't focus too much on Paul McCartney. Who was my favorite Beatle?
I know. I know.
He was the cute one.
He was.
That's the way it started. I mean, come on, we were
Yeah.
6, 7 years old.
Right.
I just wanted to mention that he's currently on tour. He's going to be by you right around your birthday, kiddo.
Right before it, actually. Winston-Salem. Yeah.
Yep. He'll be there on Saturday, May 21st. And then he's going to come around by me in New Jersey at MetLife Stadium on June 16th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, besides being knighted by Queen Elizabeth and getting an Academy Award and a star in a Hollywood Walk of Fame, he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame 2 times, one as a Beatle and one as a solo artist.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how long it's going to take before he's a third time
for Wings.
Yeah, because I was thinking about this. My favorite Wings song was
Maybe I'm Amazed.
Actually, no, Live and Let Die.
Live and Let Die. Well, it's a great song. It's such a great song. I even like the Guns N' Roses version.
I kind of do too. But of course, I like the McCartney.
Yeah, I mean,
but he's done so many good collaborations. He even, we had talked about this. He even played with Foo Fighters.
Yeah, not just that, but any collaboration he does at all. How about the Carpool Karaoke with James Corden?
That was awesome. That's my favorite one. We talked about that. Can you imagine being in that pub and Paul McCartney walks in and performs? Can you? I mean,
you lose your mind. You lose your mind.
I would.
He signed a Penny Lane sign. You put Paul McCartney on there, and James Corden's like, "Do you think anybody will believe that's actually your signature?" It's amazing. He's amazing, and I like how generous he is after a lifetime of being an incredible celebrity.
Yeah.
He
does a lot of charity work too.
He does. And he's not jaded by it or anything. I mean, he's been famous since he was like 17 years old.
Yeah.
He's still generous. He still says thank you. He's still kind.
Yeah.
Yeah. His dad was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
After being
he was
famous
also honored by Barack Obama.
Yep. Yeah. But after being famous for most of your life,
he's going to be 80.
Yeah.
Next month.
I can't, that's inconceivable. It's inconceivable.
Do you know he has an asteroid named after him?
Does he really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's not a dangerous one.
But I mean, so many Grammy Awards, so many awards. I wonder if the most honored was when he was knighted. Do you think? Has to be, right?
I don't know. I don't know how much stock he puts in it, because he has lived so much of his life in the States now.
Sure.
I'm sure. I mean, it's a great honor. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know if that would be more important to him than, say, a Grammy. I don't know, like the first one. You know what I mean?
By the way, 18 Grammys.
It's incredible.
And he's in a Guinness Book of Records 2 times.
Really?
Yeah.
For what?
Let's see, most honored composer and performer. 60 gold discs, 43 with the Beatles, 17 with Wings. And again, for the most successful songwriter.
Wow. And listening to him deconstruct these songs, like I was talking about McCartney 321.
Yeah.
Listening to him talk about the method and the decision making and what I wanted to do here and what I did there and what I can get back to. It's incredible to watch the guy work, whether you agree with who he is personally or not. Just watching the genius talk about that, and not even, he's never really full of himself either about it.
No.
It's very matter of fact. It's very honest.
Right.
I dig the guy.
I do too. Is it Stella who's the designer?
Yes, Stella McCartney.
I don't know who it was, but I remember someone, whether it was on a talk show or something, making a mention that his daughter came home and said to him, "Did you know that Stella McCartney's father was in a band called the Beatles?" He goes, I kind of remember that.
I heard something about that.
I heard something about that.
Yeah, in passing. That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing a lot of cooking things with his daughter, like vegan cooking things.
Well, he's been vegan for forever.
Well, I think they were vegetarian for a long time. I don't know how long he's been vegan. I don't think they were vegan from the beginning.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong on that, but they're on YouTube. You can look at them.
That's cool. Also, did you know that he's a member of the Order of the British Empire?
Yeah.
This is incredible. Maybe I'm amazed.
Yeah. I'm continually amazed by the things that I learn about him,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Such a good guy.
I
And I
can,
think I've mentioned if there's one famous person
yeah,
I could meet, it would be him.
I think so too, because just him personally, and then all that he's experienced and all the people he's met
Yeah.
and all the people that he's worked with or been friends with, or, just know the stories that that guy must have, not just about the Beatles, but about,
Sure.
touring, about life,
Yeah.
about everything. It's got to
Yeah.
be like amazing. It's going to be
Yeah.
a great resource.
Yeah. Amazing musician, amazing performer, an amazing guy.
Yeah. All right. Before I do my favorite P movie, I want to talk about something else.
Okay.
I want to talk about this concept of public opinion,
Mhm.
and especially of how do you navigate art that you love when one of the artists in it is in the news for something negative. For
Okay.
instance, Johnny Depp is currently in a defamation court battle against Amber Heard. That is in the news. This has been going on, the battle between these two, for 6 years. So we have this pressure of cancel culture nowadays, where if a celebrity does something we don't agree with or missteps in any way, their career gets canceled. And suddenly there are outcries to either get them removed from projects, or the people making the projects decide to drop them. In some cases, projects that have already been made are affected, and then fans feel weird or are made to feel weird for watching and liking anything that actor did in the past.
Right.
And this is a very weird space to be in, because how is it fair to all the rest of the people involved?
Exactly. Yep. Mhm.
In a lot of cases, thousands of other people were involved in making a project.
Yeah.
Sometimes at the end of the movie, they'll tell you like 10,000 people, or it took 15,000 people to make this film.
Yeah.
So one person does something, and now 14,999 people need to suffer the wrath of an angry public who aren't going to watch things, or going to have their thing canceled or taken off a streaming service or whatever because of something somebody did.
Or being accused of something.
Or yeah, just even the threat of it.
Right.
And sometimes the things that people do aren't necessarily quote unquote bad. They just happen to not agree
Exactly.
with whatever the
Exactly.
mainstream
Yep.
idea of the
Yep.
time is.
I can think of a couple right off
Yeah.
the top. Whoopi Goldberg, Sharon Osbourne, Pierce Morgan,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. Gina Carano,
Mm-hmm. Ellen DeGeneres.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. They haven't even hurt somebody physically,
No.
but
No.
they've said something that's
Yeah.
unpopular.
Yeah, exactly. Or
And
they
it-
said something hurtful.
or
Right.
hurtful, right?
Yeah.
Or wrong, whatever it is.
Right. Right.
Sometimes it's not even the people in the film that did a thing, but like now watching something made by Miramax or with the Weinstein brothers name on it,
Yeah.
and I'm like, ooh, it casts a pall over everything,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I don't think we used to think of things in terms like that, like of a person's whole catalog being tainted over the things they may have done in their lives. I mean, certainly this wasn't the case before the internet existed.
Oh, definitely not.
And
And you know what? We just talked about Paul McCartney.
mm-hmm.
Now, are you not going to listen to the Paul McCartney, Michael Jackson collaboration because of what we think happened?
Right. And that's a big one, Michael Jackson. I mean, that's a big one that has been going on, the debate over that for decades, right?
Yeah.
Whether you listen to it or not, whether you separate the artist from the person, and how do you do that? And does it cancel out everything they've ever done? I mean, these are the questions of our time.
This is tough.
Yeah, it's really hard because I think instead of making this cancel culture a thing, I think for me, this is a very individual decision, because I find that with some people in some situations, I'm having a harder time getting past it than others.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily even the thing that they've done or my level of love for the work either.
Right.
It's a very strange thing. And I think having your opinion dictated to you by the public is a dangerous thing. And I'm trying not to let that happen.
Yeah. With our podcast, we try to stay out of politics because let's face it, you're going to upset somebody. by saying
Absolutely.
something political.
And even trying to stay out of it will upset somebody,
Yeah.
will upset people just because we're not taking one side or another.
Right.
It's one of these situations where I feel like this is very personal.
Mhm.
And one of the movies that I'm going to talk about, this favorite movie of mine, is an actual favorite. And it's a favorite for a lot of reasons.
Mhm.
But Johnny Depp does happen to be in it, and he
Yeah.
is in it in a lead role. And it's the Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. And this movie was made in 2003, before anything ever went down or he was ever accused of anything. We don't even know how the trial is going to shake out or whatever.
Exactly.
But his association with Disney has been tainted because of this.
Yeah. Can I bust your chops?
Of course.
I don't want to talk about him. I love
well,
Johnny
too bad.
Depp. Yeah, I do. I love Johnny Depp.
I do too. I've been watching this guy since 21 Jump Street. Okay.
Exactly.
So am I going to throw everything that he's ever done out that I absolutely love and have loved since I was a kid?
No, you can't. You just can't.
This is happening. No,
Yeah.
I'm not going to
just
do
because
that.
he's being accused of something. Come
right.
on.
And it's not even proven. Now, having said that,
yes,
I have watched some of this trial, and he's not an angel, and I understand that.
We kind of knew that.
But there are things in anybody's, almost anybody, Mother Teresa notwithstanding, people sometimes they mess up. We're human beings. They don't do everything perfectly. The things that happen to us in our childhood play out in our adulthood sometimes, and they don't always come out in the best ways possible. So I'm not sitting here saying that, the man never did anything that was untoward possibly, but I also don't want to convict him in the court of public opinion.
Right.
And I think that's a mistake that we're making nowadays, and I'm not going to do it here. I'm going to talk about The Curse of the Black Pearl. It's the first Pirates movie, and it's the best one.
It's the best one. Yeah.
It's the best one.
Yeah.
We talked about it before with Orlando Bloom, and he was in this right as I think that Two Towers was coming out, that they were playing the trailers for this to kind of capitalize on that. So the Pirates movies and the Lord of the Rings movies were happening a little bit in tandem. I didn't know Orlando Bloom before the Lord of the Rings movies, but as we said last week, this is my favorite role that he's been in. So if you don't know anything about the Pirates of the Caribbean, and I really don't know how you couldn't if you're listening to this podcast, it's a swashbuckling tale, right? And as we know, I dig swashbuckling tales.
Yes.
It's a quest that follows Captain Jack Sparrow, played by Johnny Depp, who is a savvy pirate, and Will Turner, who is played by Orlando Bloom, who is a resourceful blacksmith. And we come to find out later he's the son of a pirate, as they search for Elizabeth Swann, played by Keira Knightley,
who we love.
Yep. And she's the governor's daughter and the love of Will's life. And she's been kidnapped by Captain Barbossa, who is very feared, and he has mutinied and taken the Black Pearl away from Jack Sparrow.
Right.
And Captain Barbossa is played really brilliantly by Jeffrey Rush.
Oh, no doubt.
So little do they know at this time that there's a curse that has befallen the Black Pearl. And it's the stuff of legends. And unless a blood sacrifice is made, they can't break the curse. So the whole movie, even with all the complexities and all the different storylines intertwining one another, the whole movie is based on getting treasure back in some way, whether it is Barbossa getting the Aztec treasure back, or Jack Sparrow getting the Black Pearl back, or Will Norrington and Governor Swan getting Elizabeth back. It's all about treasure.
Which is your typical goal for a pirate.
It is your typical goal for the pirate, but even the non-pirates are also obsessed with treasure, which is something that Jack Sparrow points out. He says, not all treasure is silver and gold, mate. It's like whatever you're obsessed with, that is your treasure. This movie, if you haven't seen it, I think is worth it to see, because it's a great movie. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of improvisation in it. Johnny Depp created an iconic character that has been discussed so many times, parodied so much, and even Orlando Bloom impersonates him in this movie.
Yeah.
And it's funny. He does a really good job
Yep.
of it. And he actually asked producer Jerry Bruckheimer if he could, because that wasn't scripted. So
Very
it
well
was
done.
just, it was just something he wanted to
Yeah.
do. And it was funny.
Mhm.
And it's a Halloween costume,
Yeah.
Jack Sparrow. You know, it's a big deal.
It is.
My favorite part of this movie comes in the beginning, and it's when we first see Captain Jack Sparrow. A lot has gone on, and he rolls up, and we first see him on top of the mast, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
And he's standing there, and then we're like, oh, okay, you
I
look
know,
funny,
whoa.
you look
Yeah,
weird. But
yeah.
I was like, as soon as I saw him, I was like, oh, this is gonna be a great movie. This is
Yeah.
gonna be great. And then you come to find out that the little ship, the little boat that he's on
Right.
is sinking, is taking on water, and he jumps down and he's bailing this thing out to no avail, right?
Yeah.
So I guess he gets back up there, because the next time we see him, he's just sailing into port as the ship is sinking.
Exactly.
And as he's
that's
coming
my
up to the
favorite too.
dock,
Yep.
he just steps right off
Right
the bird's
off.
nest and right onto the dock.
Perfect.
And it's so perfect. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. And the dock master says, "Oi, it's a shilling to tie your boat up to the dock." And he turns around and he looks at it, and there's just a little bit peeking out, you
Yeah.
know, and he's like, okay. It's
Yeah.
just a great,
It's good.
a great scene.
Good. Yep.
And I love it. And, you know, it sets the tone
Mhm.
really for the way the whole thing is going to
Right.
go.
Right.
And it's a great movie about not judging books by their cover, about being a pirate but still being able to be a good man, and the concepts of that, and having to square what your idea of goodness is with your parents and the mistakes that they've made, and the decisions that you're going to make moving forward. And it's just a great movie, and I love it very much. The end of it is just as exciting to me as the beginning, because once they find everything, they do everything, Jack's back on the Black Pearl,
Right.
and they're going off on this adventure. He's going to go back to the Isla de Muerta, and he says, drink up my hearties, yo ho, and he snaps the compass closed, and that's the end.
Yeah.
I'm like, it leaves you wanting more of that story. And I think that's what any great film
Sure.
should do,
Yeah.
is leave you wanting more of it
Mhm.
in all aspects. And throughout the movie, I love all the characters, even the
I do
peripheral
too.
characters of the
I do too.
crews.
I love the
Curses,
sarcasm. I love the little bit of
everything.
comedy in that. Yeah.
Yes.
Me too.
You know, everything about this movie is well crafted,
Mhm.
from the script to the outfits to the characters themselves.
Yes.
Just a great job. Every single person put everything they had into this movie, and it
Mhm.
shows.
Yeah.
It did really well, and they made like 5 more of them, I think, something like that. So big hit, and it's one that I think I'll watch for the rest of my life, because it
yeah.
is funny, and you can
Oh.
go back and revisit it so many times.
Now I'm trying to remember. He based his character off of Keith Richards and somebody else, right?
I think there were a couple of people involved in his portrayal,
His mannerisms and stuff.
yeah, but
Yeah.
he said when he was doing research for Pirates, they were considered rock stars. So that's where he
Yeah.
went with it. And
Hmm.
Keith Richards does play a big part, and then winds up in, I think, the 3rd movie or something, being his
Yeah.
pirate
Exactly.
dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he does a great job.
He does a
too.
great job.
Yeah.
Exactly. And as a matter of fact, I remember hearing Johnny Depp saying that he was surprised what a great actor he is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And of course he was thrilled that he did it. He even
Sure.
considered doing it,
Sure.
you know, but it
He was-
makes so much sense.
It was perfect.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
And he was playing the guitar in it and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah, it was
really
great.
good. Yeah.
Loved it. Mhm.
Yeah. But this was my favorite of the series. This
Yes,
one,
me
and-
too.
And
Black
another
Pearl.
instance of the original being the best.
Mhm. My last thought on Princess Bride was that it was brilliant to have Wesley conquer the giant WWE style with a sleeper hold.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
his.
Yeah, that's really the only way to defeat Andre the Giant. unless you're a Hulk Hogan who does a body slam and then does a leg drop, you know. But how else are you going to defeat Andre the Giant? By a sleeper hold. I thought it was brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only way. I think it's interesting that both the movies we chose have pirates in them.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That was a complete accident too.
Yeah. P for pirates.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, time to wrap this up, Buttercup.
Yeah.
We appreciate you listening. With that, we're out of here.
Thank you very much. We'll see you next week.